Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. This is the Sunday morning briefing. I'm back after just a little break. This is FlossTube number 74. I had to think about that and I had to check back, and it would appear that I have two number 72s because counting clearly isn't my strong point. So this is FlossTube number 74 and it is the end of May. Yeah, I think it's the end of May. Now I'm actually filming on, what day is it today? Thursday. It's Thursday, because this is going to be one of the weekends that we're going back to the Cotswolds because it's going to be half term. Yay! We finally got here, and I've got so much to show you that there was absolutely no way that I could have taken it all to the Cotswolds, although I am going to be taking quite a bit of it with me to the Cotswolds, and I'll tell you why in a little while. I've got so much to show you, so much to talk to you about, most of which I will probably forget, but I'm surrounded by stitching and samplers and stuff to show you, haul. Although I haven't been on FlossTube, I have still been stitching. Despite the exam season, I have still managed to get some stitching in. I've still been making a general menace of myself haul-wise. Other than that, yeah, I think I'm just going to crack on. I'm just going to crack on. So for those of you who might be joining me for the first time or only caught maybe one or two episodes before I had a little break, usually I do a Sunday briefing every Sunday. Just with the exam season just gone, it was just a bit too much. This year, understandably, the students needed more. They needed more from their teachers. And so yeah, I was very happy to make sure that they were okay, and thank you to those people who've dropped me messages and said, are you okay, is everything all right? And I'm, yes, it's all fine, it's all fine. I just kind of wanted to sort of hibernate for a little while and just get them sorted. They're all off on exam leave now. Some of them have had exams. The exams seem to have been quite fair, I think, except maybe the A-level chemistry. Not my subject, but there's been some drama about the A-level chemistry. They had an hour, I'll tell you, they had an hour, and they had, one of the questions had an A4 page of text that they had to read, and one of the other questions had half an A4 page of text, plus the rest of the exam paper in an hour, which, it was just too much. It was just too much, so there will be, I think, complaints going into the exam board from lots of schools. Anyway, I digress. What have you come for? You've come for stitching. I've got all the normal stuff and I'm just going to crack on and tell you what I've been stitching, what I'm hoping to stitch, what I've been doing. We shall see. Right, let's start with A Year in the Woods. So, I'm sure you are all familiar with A Year in the Woods. This is the most recent one which has come out, which is the bear. They have shown the next one in line, which is the eagle, but this is the first of the summer ones. So this is the first of the ones that was charted to go on the blue fabric if you're doing it in different colours of fabric. So obviously I started him. The last one of the spring, which I had either just started or was just starting when I last showed you, was the ferret. So what I've done is I've ironed everything, which in itself is a minor miracle. I've ironed everything and I will show you the whole lot, exactly where I am with A Year in the Woods. So let me show you the most recent one, which is the bear. And I even found out my board to try and hold things up on. So this is the bear, and I'm stitching this on 36 count 2/2 with the call for threads, and this is a piece of fabric that I dyed myself. If you want to know how I did it, if you look back through my video list, you'll see a picture of me holding up some fabrics on one of the episodes, and in that episode I tell you kind of how I did it, and there's also a RIT dyeing tutorial that you might want to have a look at. So that's where I am with the bear. So I've just done basically his bottom and then his head comes up here. I like with mine to do enough so that I can at least start the new releases when they come out, and then at some point in the future I'm hoping that I will have a time machine so that I can catch up with them all. But I'm hoping to start them all on time, so at least they're all planned out. So that's the bear, and he's the first one actually that's gone away from the kind of geometric patternation. So up until now, all of the others have had some kind of geometric shaping. So he's the first one that's kind of got more of a swirly pattern. So he's lovely. I'm not sure, as he's not my favourite so far. So far then, let's have a look. So that's the bear. This is where I was on the spring. So let me try and see if I can hold up. I don't think I'm going to get all three on. Let's see if I can show you where I was on the spring. Now, the ferret has probably got, you will see there, the ferret has probably got the least done on him, just because that's when kind of exam time hits, so he hasn't got that much on him. There's the raccoon, the trash panda, and there is, let's come this way this time, there is the jackrabbit. And again, fabric that I dyed myself, but to match the kind of Picture This Plus colours that they'd suggested. And then, because we haven't seen it for such a long time, and I had the iron out anyway, I've ironed the winter ones as well. So, which way are we going? This way. The fox and the swans. So, yeah, I can't wait to see them kind of all together. That was a pretty good colour for that one actually. I noticed on my Instagram the picture that I'd put up of this one, it looked really bright blue, but it's not, it's much more of a grey blue. So that is where I am with those, and as I said, the eagle's the next one to come out. So I shall do kind of what I've been doing. I'll make a start on it, see how far I get, and then just kind of keep going until they're all planned out. But this bear is really, really nice to stitch. Just those swirls are lovely. I'm trying to get a good colour of this fabric, probably about there. Need to come a bit further back. Loving this. I did have a comment from a lady on Instagram actually, and I think it was, I can't think which one I'd put up, maybe it was the ferret, and she said, oh, I'd love to see the other ones that you've completed. And I was like, completed? That was been an interesting idea, because I've only actually finished fully the fox, but never mind, it's a start along. It's a start along. So talking of starting things, I think I very cavalierly said to you in the last FlossTube that I did that I wasn't planning on doing Mania. I wasn't going to go and start a lot of things. And other than my year in the woods, sorry, I'm just trying to put this away, otherwise I know I'll lose it. Other than my year in the woods, I don't think I've worked on anything that I already had started. So it's not a Mania. I've just started lots of things. Figure that one out. Right, what else did I start? I also started this one. Now, this is by Northumberland Sampler House, and this is called Sybil Ann Irving, and it's this one. Now, I started mine on a piece of Himalayan pink salt, pink Himalayan salt. It was a fox and rabbit fabric of the month. Hang on, there's the label. What's it actually called? Pink Salt Lake. There we go. And so I started mine on that. Now it's not showing very well. It is quite pink. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I thought it would work, but it just didn't. So I stopped, And I've done a couple of things. So that was where I was. That was the called for pink. And that was the called for yellow, yellowy brown. And so what I did was I stopped and I moved on to a piece of 36 count that I had dyed. In fact, I think it's 30, it could be 38 count, but I think it's 36 count. And I restarted. There we go, that's probably a bit of a better colour. So I've used a deeper pink because in the picture, one of the things that I really liked was that deeper pink. And to me, the called for colour didn't quite match my expectations with the photograph. So it's not that Anita's used the wrong colour, because obviously she's got the piece right in front of her and she's matched the colour. What's happened is that the photograph is what's attracted me, and either the way my monitor shows it or the way my printer prints it, that's the colour I want. So yeah, I did switch it out for a darker pink, and I switched out the yellow as well, because again, to me, the yellow was too bright. It wasn't giving me what I wanted on from the picture. I want it to look like the picture. So I switched that as well. Now, if I've got the threads in the bag, I might be able to tell you my switches. Here we go. And now bearing in mind, this is my only set of threads that look half decent, she says, pulling all sorts of rat tails off the end. So the called for pink was that one, 3712, and I have switched it out for the Gentle Art Rose Garden. So you can see there's quite a difference there. And the called for yellow was 729, and I have switched it out for Victorian Motto Farmhouse Granary. So it's more of a greeny brown, so this is the one that I've switched it out for. Now, I'm still not sure I'm on the right fabric, I have to say. I'm not 100% convinced, just because I think the pinks are fine, and I like the lighter pink, even though it doesn't show up very well on the camera. You can actually see it in person. I just wonder whether I wanted to be using 2 strands on this one or not. I shall persevere with it. I shall put in the other, yeah, the dog's barking. Chris went for cheese. Chris and Ness went for cheese. So, where was I before I rudely interrupted myself? Talking about cheese. Oh yeah, 2 strands maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'll do a bit more and I'll see how I go with it. The thing that I've been stitching on most is my, there go my notes, is my Teresa Kogut. Now I can't remember if I'd started this or whether I've only ever shown it on Instagram. I think I might have only ever shown it on Instagram because I wanted to dye some fabric for it. I knew I wanted to stitch it, but I wanted to dye some fabric for it. And this is where we are. Let me just see if I can persuade those two to stay together. There we go. So this is a chart that is from her Patreon. So this is called Cherry Jubilee. And it says, "The bird who dares to fall is the bird who learns to fly." So I'm pretty far on with it. I've got another flower like that down in the corner to go, and then there's some leaves there, and a little bit of finishing off with some of the other foliage. Fill this in, sort the border out, and I'm done. Just like that. Just like that, I'm done. Now, I love this stitch. Love, love, love it. But it's not without its problems. So, for the first time in ages, I was half a stitch off on the border. Half a stitch. Who's half a stitch out on a border? Well, often. But, and I found it, and I didn't unpick it. I did a little bodge. So that was on the outside border. Let me just come on this side as well. There we go. That was on the outside border. So it meant I had to do a little bodge on the inside border. Now the outside and the inside border are the wrong colours, by the way. They're the wrong way around. And my little border up here, these little strawberries, the colours there are the wrong way around as well. They should be dark going to light, and mine are light going to dark. I don't think I'm going to change it. I think I'll just leave it. The top of a strawberry is darker than the bottom, isn't it? Sorry, the bottom of a strawberry is darker than the top. So, I don't know. We'll see. There's not that much to take out if I decide that I'm going to change it, but maybe I'll stitch one the right way around and see if it does look infinitely better. But I absolutely love this one. So I'm hoping to get a finish on it quite soon, and I'd like to get it framed up because it's so beautiful. In fact, all of the ones that Teresa released that particular month, which I think wasn't March, it could have been April. I loved. So there's two others. There's a strawberry one and another one I think to do that are all quite similar. So yeah, I love that. And this is just a piece of 32 count Rit dye, stitched 2 over 2. And this is the kind of depth of colour that I quite want to try and maybe get on that other sampler. I don't know, I might end up re-dyeing a piece of 32 count and doing it 2 over 2. We'll see. And then my other thing that I've stitched is actually a finish. And this is by our very own Becca from SamBrie Stitches. Now she's been chatting, we've been chatting backwards and forwards about charting samplers, and she obviously knew I'd charted a couple of samplers, and so she was just asking a little bit of advice. And so she showed me a sampler that she had bought and that she charted, and she's actually shown me a couple more samplers that she's bought that are really nice. And she sent me the chart for Lizzie Payne Gross, or Gross, which, if you watch Brenda in the Serial Starter, you will know Brenda is stitching the model. I think she's finished the model on 40 count, and she used a much more, is it autumn gold or old gold, something like that. Well, I used the same fabric as I was stitching the Teresa Kogut piece on. Look, there it is on the back. And I used Gentle Art Blackboard. So mine does have a kind of a bluey tinge to it. Oh, there's going to be more barking because that obviously wasn't Chris coming back. This is Chris coming back with the cheese. So I used a 32 count, 2 over 2 blackboard, and I've cut it quite fine on the margins, which is okay, because what I think I'm going to do with this is I think I'm going to make it into a needle roll. I think I'm just going to kind of back it and roll it and display it rolled, or maybe on a spool. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. But since I haven't managed to get any finishing done, and I thought I would, we'll see when this gets done. But it was a lovely, lovely stitch. Now, don't look too closely at mine, because there should be 3 stitches between the top of the letters and the border, and I've only got 2. Because again, it would appear that counting is hard. So there she is in all her glory. Now I know she's not actually released yet, but I believe that Acorns and Threads have got a wait list started for her. So this was one of 2 that were framed together, and I believe that she's been able to find Lizzie. even though it hasn't got a year on it. It's quite an unusual name, and I believe that she's been able to find the girl. I sent her somebody that I thought it would be or could be, but I only have the ancestry for the UK. I don't have the worldwide option, so I wasn't able to check it out fully. But she said another lady got in touch with her and was able to provide a family tree for her. So get in touch with Acorns and Threads if you want to get on the wait list for that. I don't know whether there'll be a PDF option or not, but I'm sure Becca will let you know. So congratulations, Becca, you've done a great job with that. I really enjoyed stitching that one. Really nice clear chart as well. Right, is that everything I've stitched on? I did one tiny other little bit of stitching, but literally it was just half a border and then I didn't do any more. Okay, so freebie, let's do a freebie. Stone Street Stitchworks. This is called Quaker Postcard and I think it's absolutely lovely. Really, really nice. So you could make that monochrome, you could do it in different colours. There's so many different things that you could do with that. You could, if you wanted to, take each one of those half shapes and you can make each one into a strawberry, because you're just basically following the line of the stitching and you can make a strawberry. So there is that. I also think the middle bit would just look really nice framed in a square frame but then hung on the wall as a diamond. I think that could look lovely. So I'll put the link down for that one. If you're interested, the sizes, 12.5 by 6.5 on 14 count, down to 9 by 4.5 on 40 count. So a nice size stitch there. Plans. I'll just talk plans very briefly. My plan is to just carry on stitching what I like when I like, but on the 1st of June I am starting the Northumberland Sampler House stitch along, which is IA 1812, and I'd shown you this before and I'd said I thought I wanted to stitch it on the Pink Lake Salt, there we go, from Fox and Rabbit, but I've changed my mind and I bought, those are the threads, there we go, and I think there may actually be one more red that I need to add to it, but those are the threads, and I managed to buy on eBay a piece of R&R Reproductions Autumn Leaves in 36 count, so that is what I will be stitching mine on. And I think all of those colours, even those close ones, will probably be, let's come on this side, will probably be okay on that. I might have to just alter the odd one, but I'm sure we will be there or thereabouts with those. So I'm really looking forward to starting that. And if you haven't already got signed up, if you go onto Etsy, you can go onto the Northumberland Sampler House shop and you can sign up for it, and then you get the PDFs through to your email. You can also buy linen, you can buy needle minders. Is it needle minder or is it goes on the, I call them ring bling, the things that go on the ring with the little picture on, ring bling. Don't Google that. So you can buy those, you can buy floss drops is the other thing. So go on and see what Anita's got in store for you. Right, what else have I been doing? I've been doing some charting of my own. I promised myself once we got a little bit clearer at school that I wanted to do some charting of some reproduction samplers that I'd bought. And so I've charted 2, and I've got another 2 that I want to do, and I'm actually taking all 4 of them down to Patchwork Rabbit next week, and I'm going to sit there with Carla and Catherine and I'm going to match threads. So I've charted them just on PC Stitch, just using colours from the side. They're not matched colours. If it's green, I've just used a green. If it's red, I've just used red. And I'll go back through when I stitch it and change the colours so that they actually match properly. So I'm going to show you what I've done. These are the 2 that I've done, and I'll put a picture of the sort of digital render at the top. Now the first one I've done is probably the sampler that is in the worst condition that I own. And this is Sofia Stafford. Now some of these I do know a little bit about the girls, some of them I don't. So when I go back and write all of the blurb for the chart, I will remind myself and I'll tell you about them as I kind of release them. So this is Sofia Stafford, and she is in a pretty poor condition. She was literally cut off a frame, and she's got this lovely border and that giant house there, plus the hearts and the flowers in the baskets. It says, Lord Jesus, help me now to flee, and fix my hopes alone on thee. Apply thy blood, thy spirit give, subdue my sin, and in me live. So what I will do with this one is I will chart the verse that's there, but I think I may chart a different verse as well, and I will probably end up stitching the different verse because I'm not a particularly religious person, so to have on my wall I would probably choose something different, but I will chart my choice and I will chart this one as well, and then if you choose to purchase it, you'll be able to stitch either. Now I think Sofia was either a little bit older when she stitched this, or she was quite an accomplished stitcher, because it's very symmetrical. It's super symmetrical. So usually when you're stitching matched pairs like that, they will be slightly different. Hers are pretty much perfectly the same. Perfectly the same. And when you look at the back, you see that there's quite a lot more colour in this sampler. So the red is obviously very prominent, but you've got blues, pinks, oranges on the back as well. So I've charted her, and I shall be going to pick out the colours for her. And the other one that I have charted is this little lady here called Susanacles. Now I've shown you Susanna before, and when I bought her she was in a beautiful rosewood frame, and I wanted to see the colours on the back, so I took her out of the frame, and I've got a little clip of that, and I'll put that clip in here so you can actually see me taking her out of the frame. And this is what I was left with, just a little stretched piece. So you can see we've still got, I've left them in on two sides, the very old pins there. But I've taken two sides of the pins off because I wanted to be able to see what was on the back. She's actually lined on the back, just to see the true colours. So I will put it behind fact, it probably won't need the board because she is lined on the back. So that's her big vase with a tulip in it, and we've got a basket of flowers and that wonderful peacock. Now this is not symmetrical in any way, shape or form. Now she gave me a little few troubles actually charting her, and I have just tidied her up very slightly, well, for two reasons. One reason so that she would be suitable for Ada stitches, and the other reason is that parts of her stitch are off by one stitch because, and I've never seen this before, let me just peel back. She actually has pieced, so there's the front of it. Can you see this line that runs along here? Very neatly, she has actually pieced two pieces together. So this border that's in the middle here doesn't appear on the front. So either what she stitched was going to be a lot taller and she's decided to cut it down, or she'd gone wrong somewhere. And so a lot of this top part is kind of slightly over by half a stitch. And so just to sort that out, I've kind of, it doesn't affect this chart in any way, I've just kind of brought it all back into line really. And then it will make it suitable for Ada stitches too, but it's a lovely little piece. Really, really lovely. So I'm looking forward to going to stitch, to pick out colours for this one. And you can see on the back, you've got these nice, almost like salmony reds, and then there are some bright reds in there as well. So that will be fun, and she's not going to be very big at all. She really isn't. I can't wait to stitch her. I might stitch her first. I'm not sure. Wait till you see what I've bought. Okay, on to what I have bought. So I'm going to leave the two samplers till the end, and I'll show you what else I bought. So these things came just from either like Stash and Load or Facebook Marketplace or something along those lines. So I picked up this one, Carriage House Sampling Sampler Stocking. Hopefully I won't get too much glare on that one. I've always loved these long stockings. And I think this is the first one I've actually bought. So I picked that one up. And I finally got my hands on The Moons of 2022 by Kathy Barrick. I love this one. Love, love, love. This might be my birthday stuff. End of July. And I just can't wait to stitch this one. Now it did come in a nice bag, and I ended up using the bag for something else, so hence why it's got a little clip just holding all the pages together. But yeah, I shall be looking forward to picking out all the threads for that one. And I got that one from Jeff P. Smith on eBay, and he's linked down in my sellers, and they sent along these little tags as well, which was lovely. Thank you very much. So love little, I just thought these were lovely decorative tags. So thank you for those. What else did I get? I picked up this one, which is the ABC de la Brodeuse. I'm not French, but I like that one. No immediate plans on that one, but I do like it. Now this one, I don't think this will take long to stitch. This is Chubby Bird by Jeanette Douglas, which I picked up as well. And I picked up this one, Ghoul, which is a Plum Street Samplers one, which I really like. What else? One thing is just out of reach, so there we go. I grabbed this. Now I did put this up on Instagram, and it's just a little sampler with all sorts of different pattern work and borders on it. It is a wool sampler, but it's much more finely stitched than the wool sampler I'm going to show you in a minute. I thought this would be really nice to chart just as a little needlebook cover or something like that, or a little pin cushion. So what I'll do is I'll chart this one up and maybe offer you a few different suggestions of things that you might want to do with it. But I really like the colours. I really like the colours. Now, I'm no proof of where this came from, but in the advert for it, it said that it was purchased in Wales, so that kind of helped make my decision. So there's that one. And I got a couple of spools as well. These are fabulous. Look at these. Aren't they nice? Aren't they nice? So these and my new Welsh sampler came from an Etsy shop whose name escapes me right now, but I shall put it along the bottom because it's a really, really lovely Etsy shop, and she's got some fantastic things in there, and she was a lovely lady to deal with as well. So there's those. I just love the colours of those. Love, love, love the colours of those. The red and the yellow. So I bought 2 other samplers. Should we go Scottish or Welsh first? What do you think? I'm going to go Welsh first. Now she's quite a big girl because she is, I think she's stitched by quite a young girl, but she's a big Welsh woolwork sampler. And what really attracted me to her, well, you'll see what it was in a minute. Interestingly, she's kind of held together by some yellow drawing pins, which is not something I've come across before, and her stretch is a little bit sugary still. So without further ado, this is Margareta Jones, and here here she is. There we go. I can just about get her all in with my arm outstretched. Now, 10 points to Gryffindor if you can work out what it was that I was most attracted to. That windmill. That windmill. I have never seen a giant windmill on a sampler before. It says Margareta Jones, 1913, so it's not as old as some. And I've been told how to pronounce this at the bottom, but I can't quite get there with it. But it does mean better educated than wealthy, or better education than riches, something along those lines. At the top you've got that lovely border, and then a couple of alphabets, and then it just says the windmill, and some birds. I love the birds flying around the windmill. I just think that's fantastic. And then you've got this giant windmill and these fantastic steps. And I'll show you the back. Now the colours aren't too bad. The green, let me turn it round. The mid green has suffered a little bit. So I think this is kind of like the true green, which was probably up here, although they don't look too different on the front. The top alphabet here has faded a lot, but if you look under the stretcher, just at the very top there, you can see just where it hasn't faded, and it's more or less a similar colour to the outer border. Maybe a little bit more blue in it than green. So I shall be taking this with me to the Patchwork Rabbit to pick out colours. The red's looking a little bit darker than it is in real life. It's quite a bright red. Now of course I've had a go at trying to find her, and it would appear that there's quite a few Margareta Joneses in Wales. Now, looking for a Jones in Wales, there are quite a few of them, shall we say. So I was hoping Margareta would not be so common, but there's probably a good 10 of them to pick from, and without any more information I can't be sure. So what I started to do was look for windmills, and I was hoping that amongst all those Margareta Joneses there would be one who lived right next to a windmill. Now, trying to find windmills in Wales is not as easy as it might sound. There is a directory of windmills in Wales, believe it or not, on Wikipedia, but there is a couple of counties that are missing. So I need a bit more digging on that one. One of them is Carmarthenshire. Now, the lady who I bought this from said that the sampler came from Carmarthen. Now, obviously these things travel. That doesn't necessarily mean that the girl came from Carmarthen. So I do know a surveyor, an architect and surveyor, and I've asked him whether he knows of any windmills, red windmills maybe, in the local area. But I think my biggest hope, or my most likely candidate at the moment, should I say, is a girl called Margareta Jones, which she would need to be, who lived just outside Wrexham, just south of Wrexham, because there is a windmill about 14 miles from her house called the Bettisfield Windmill, and I'll put a picture of it up. Now, this is the picture of it. It's been refurbished as a house, and so this is how it looks now, but I was able to find a picture of it back in when Margareta would have known it, if it is this girl, and it's strikingly similar. Now, I didn't think there would be much variation in windmills in Wales. I just thought a windmill is a windmill is a windmill. But most of the windmills look different to this one. And this is the one that looks most like the Bettisfield windmill, which is interesting. Most of the windmills in Wales are much shorter. They don't have the triangular top to them. They're quite often lime rendered, so they're all white. Now, obviously this girl could have just been taking complete artistic license, and it might just be common. It might just be her in her own mind that she's decided to do this. It could be a girl went on holiday, saw a windmill out of a book. I don't know. We'll never know. With that information on this sampler, we'll never really know. But it's quite nice to have a look and see and to find out. Now, my Scottish one arrived today. So I've had 2 lovely days at school knowing that both times, when I came home today and when I came home yesterday, because she arrived yesterday, that I had a sampler to open. So this is a sampler. This is Catherine Mcbride, and I can't really read the year on it. I think it's 1850 something, but the rest of the year has gone. And I'll show you her. Now, she's mounted onto board. I don't think she's stuck onto board because it all moves, maybe apart from this very bottom bit. Everything else moves, and that would probably explain what's underneath here. So the bottom bit may be glued, the rest of it seems to be just pinned. So we shall see. But a lovely lady had messaged me and said, had I seen this sampler for sale? And I hadn't, and it's absolutely lovely. I love red and green samplers, and there's something about this one that I particularly like. So we've got a row of alphabets at the top, a row of numbers, a lowercase alphabet, and then this beautiful eyelet stitch large row. Now, I think that would make a fantastic drum. I really think that would make a fantastic drum, just that band there. And then the other reason why I liked it, because I knew her name was on the bottom, and it says Catherine Mcbride, age 15, and then it says B School, 18. I think that's a 3, but there's something missing there. The reason I liked it is because I think I stand a good chance of finding her, because she's got so many initials of her family there. So I'm guessing this is Mcbride, A Mcbride, MF, M Mcbride, JM Mcbride. Now there's another JM Mcbride here, stitched in black. Now I think that that's probably because they've passed away. That's very often why you would see an initial in black when the rest of it is not. There's another A Mcbride, another J Mcbride, and then we've got all of these initials here. Now it says on the bottom, suffer little children to come unto me and forbid them not, for of such is the kingdom of God. And it gives you the reference for Luke there. And I'm not going to try and work it out because it's Roman numerals. And then there's these big 3 initials at the bottom here, which says, I think, CMK. But I don't know what that is. So B School could be boarding school, it could be British school. I don't know, I need to do a bit more work. I have a couple of candidates, one of whom is from Saltcoats, which is about, well, it's pretty close to where my mum's from, not that far away really. And so I'm looking forward to doing some more research on her and seeing if I can work out who she is and what that year could possibly have been. It is a shame about the glue along the bottom, but these things happen. Samples get into the wrong hands. And so that is Catherine Mcbride. And I shall be charting her as well. But I really want to do a drum with that. So what I'll probably do is I'll chart the whole thing and then I'll just let people decide what they want to do with her. But I think she's lovely. Well, I didn't forget what to do. I was quite sure I would come on camera and I'd just be like, I don't know what to say. But I've got there. So it's lovely to be back. I did miss doing the FlossTubes every week and just having that kind of contact and feedback with everybody every week. So thanks very much for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Been quite a few new subscribers. Thank you very much just for all your support during this little bit of time for a time off. It's been much needed. I feel I need to focus on myself just for a little bit. I think my next goal, and I'm going to say it on here because then I'm going to have some kind of accountability. I need to lose a bit of timber. This year's just very much been about biscuit and cake and just trying to get things, get through things. It's been tough going, but yeah, I do need to lose a bit of timber. So I'm going to have a little serious think about that, think about how I'm going to go about it. And I've told you, so I've got to do it. I also need to go get my hair cut and all sorts of general stuff like that. And I'm starting to waffle, which generally means that it's time for me to go. So I will see you again next week. Stay classy, Stitchers.